I'd like to move next to the wage subsidy, if that's okay.
Sure.
So, in your opinion, was the purpose of the wage subsidy? Would you say it was more of an emergency response or part of the economic recovery, or both?
Well, I think it was just part of the emergency response. I don't think it was, I think now it's turning into a bit of economic recovery because it's been extended. But originally it was emergency response to try and keep people employed in businesses. Now, in my mind, what should have happened is all the effort and hard work should have gone into the wage subsidy to get that up and running very quickly so that people would stay employed effectively and get 75% of their wages. And even if the business said, stay home, we're not going to let you go. We're just going to pay you the 75% of your salary. That's how it was supposed to work. And if they'd done that right out of the get go, then you would not have had so many people applying for CERB. But instead, they did the opposite way, which led to a lot of businesses having to close because they weren't eligible for the wage subsidy because it wasn't there, and they were told to shut their doors. And so I think if we had been the government, we would have looked at supporting businesses just as quickly and effectively as supporting individuals who had lost their job due to COVID-19.
Well, we've seen how that's played out in other countries that did roll out that wage subsidy quickly. Their unemployment has been able to stay like really low.
Yes,
It's a proven model now. Like it's great. It is proven. Like that's awesome.
it's the right way to have done it, and I think we have the wage subsidy. I believe it's extended until I believe it's been extended until December, but
Yep.
I don't have that in front of me, but I think so, and that's going to be a great bridge for businesses that have stayed. But the real challenge, I think, with respect to the wage subsidy is what's going to come next. And if you remove the wage subsidy right now, I think you would see wide scale business failures, especially in the restaurant and service industries where they're operating at far less than half capacity. And realistically, the only thing that's keeping them going right now is the ability to access the wage subsidy.
I I have heard the same thing from the people I've spoken to as well. I mean,
And the converse challenge, I just finished a business tour all across Dufferin-Caledon. The converse challenge is a lot of people not coming back to work because they can stay home and collect CERB, as opposed to going to work where they may get a little bit more money, but then they're working and it's summer. You know, if you had a choice to make sort of 70% of what you made and stay home for the summer, or go back to work, right? I think there's a lot of people that are choosing not to go back to work, and that's something I'm hearing over and over again, especially from small businesses in the service industry. They are having a really difficult time getting people to come back to work.
it makes like if you can't get the tips and you can't guarantee the hours or the wages, like it makes a lot of sense. So I mean, it's just rationally, it's understandable why that happens.
It's understandable why it happens, and we've just got to find ways to. And they've made some modifications now where you can earn a little bit of extra money and stay on CERB. And they're going to have to continue to look at ways to incentivize people to go back to work and support small business as we go through sort of the next phase, right? Because patio season in Canada is coming to an end in depending on where you live in within the next month or the next 2 months.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Speaking of that topic, or like getting people back to work, would you think something like back to work payments to get people back to work would be something to put on the table?
I think you have to look at a way in which to incentivize people to go back to work. And there's ways to say you can earn up to a certain amount of money and there's 100% clawback after that. Or you can look at you earn a certain amount of money and then we'll slowly claw back the amount of CERB you're making. There's a whole bunch of different ways to look at this and structure it in order to encourage people to go back to work. But at the same time, we're going to have to find ways to support businesses through this, because if we have sort of wide scale business failure after the removal of the wage subsidy, no one's going to have any work to go back to.
Exactly, exactly.